Rideshare drivers in the state of Massachusetts and delivery drivers could soon be employees. What's up, guys? Brandon Sellers here with some really interesting news that's actually flying under the radar a little bit. I'm actually surprised with how few people are talking about this. But before we get started, if you like Gridwise, if you like our channel, if you love our content, please click subscribe. Would help us out a lot, guys. But let's get right into the news here. The state of Massachusetts is actually suing Uber. They're suing Lyft in order to make drivers employees. So if things go the state's way, you could have a lot of drivers being classified as employees. So, basically what's going on here is Massachusetts has had this law from 2004 that's obviously been on the books since 2004, but they haven't enforced it. And it basically laid out these kind of three rules that will work to classify whether a driver is an employee or not. Very similar to what you saw in terms of AB5. And I'm going to read the rules to you here. To be a contractor, a worker must do their work without the direction or control of the employer. They must perform work that is outside the usual course of the employer's business. That's the one. And they need to perform work that they would do for other employees as well. That last one, okay, you might do Uber, you might do Lyft, you might do DoorDash, Postmates, whatever. But that second one is what's key. As if you've been following this at all, you know that Uber and Lyft and the delivery companies, really every gig working company, they want to be seen as a platform, as a technology platform. So the actual work they say is outside of our business, which is so weird to think of Uber. We're not a driving service. If you ask anyone out, if you walked outside on Michigan Avenue in Chicago, if you ask anyone what is Uber, they're going to say, oh, it's like a driving service. No one's going to say it's a technology platform. So that's really kind of the key part of this fight is, hey, is Uber a technology platform? Is driving outside the course of business? I'm certainly not here to kind of tell you that answer. There's certainly some gray area there. And I think what every driver should do, of course, is to kind of just do your research and kind of understand, hey, what do I think about that? There's a lot of, content being put out where it's just like the facts of that argument there. But that's going on. And I think drivers need to be really thinking about this because the reason that this came about is because of COVID. And all of a sudden you had 71% of drivers get off the road. You don't have all of those drivers back, not by any means, because they're not going to make as much. Now, right now, drivers that are back on the road, they're actually making a really good amount, especially in your places like Boston. But that's because there's not many drivers on the road. So even though demand is still lower, you're seeing the driver supply low. So those drivers on the road are still getting rides, right? So, but if all of a sudden every driver got back on the road, then there's not going to be enough demand to really fulfill everyone. Drivers aren't going to make as much. So you have all these drivers that are off the road right now. You had all these drivers that there's no way they could drive. So you have all these drivers applying for unemployment and the state paying all these drivers, right? And then so the state of Massachusetts, and what you're going to see is a lot of other states do the same thing. They're saying, hey guys, we're paying all your drivers here and you haven't paid a dime into any unemployment. I don't think this is quite jiving with what we want to do. And then so that's where the state is coming from. And I think that's going to be a big reason why, they are doing this. And I think you're going to see that spread out to a lot of other states as well, that are already kind of thinking about these things. Now, being classified as an employee does have its pros and cons. Pros, of course, you get the benefits. You get the guaranteed, hours. You get unemployment. Things like that are great. But you also you are not going to have the flexibility, which most drivers really love their flexibility. If you're a full-time employee, they're going to do more to tell you what to do. And you're not going to have the flexibility. And of course, they're not going to be able to have as many drivers because it's more expensive. So that market is going to be constricted. So it's not going to be quite as easy. But if you can get in, and you're okay with not having flexibility, you're gonna be better off. So I think it's, again, every driver has to kind of look at this situation for themselves and decide, hey, what do I think here? Look at the facts and kind of understand, hey, what is going to be better for it? Try to think, obviously, what's going to be better for me, but then from a societal standpoint, what's going to be best there? So you're going to see, this is important not only for drivers, again, in Boston and California, you're going to see this everywhere. You're going to see this idea take off of, hey, should drivers be employees? You're going to see that in a lot of states here. So pay attention to this stuff, guys. Pay attention to these developments because it might not be affecting you right now, but it certainly could be. And that is a little news snippet for the day. Again, if you like this video, go ahead and click subscribe, and we will be back at you real soon with another video. See you guys.